Hey guys, Phoebe's back. It's like when I say, hey guys, that's a cue for her to just pipe up. But you guys didn't mind it last time, so I'm hoping you don't mind it this time. She's like this close to jumping on my lap. You can literally hear her tail smacking on the sofa. Okay, sis. She's actually currently holding my slipper. This is her sign of excitement. She never like actually chews it, never destroys it. She just holds it. I will hold it for you, just in case you need it at some point in time. In an emergency, I will hold your slipper for you. Like, thank you so much, Phoebe, actually. Yes, you stay right here, Muffin. Okay, so today we're talking about David Dobrik. I haven't talked about David in a long time because like nothing really has been happening, and all the stuff that has been happening I just kind of didn't get around to covering. So I'm gonna cover it today. But also, YouTube is a bit funky with like notifications and all of that stuff, so subscribe. And when you do subscribe, or you already are subscribed, make sure you hit the bell fully, like to all notifications, because YouTube doesn't sometimes like to let everyone know that videos are coming out, essentially. All my social media will be in the description, and let's just get into it. So David obviously is the leader of the Vlog Squad, which was massive a few years back. They used to do obviously vlogs. They would all be 4 minutes and 20 seconds long for the haha 420 joke, and he would basically give money away, make his friends do really funky stuff, sometimes really dangerous stuff, for like a plot point in the vlog. At some point I realized that like David isn't really that interesting. Like, he really is just the director and like the cameraman, and his friends are actually the interesting ones because he will make them do stuff that we find entertaining. We in like people found entertaining. The downfall of the Vlog Squad was obviously Dirty Dom, the inside article that they wrote about Dirty Dom, and I believe it was 2 women that came out against him, and then a few more. It was just kind of like everyone was just basically like, he has either committed a crime against me or has made me feel uncomfortable. Like, there were so many women that were coming out and saying like, yeah, he might have not committed a crime, but he definitely made me feel really icky. So there was a range there of accusations against Dirty Dom, and they immediately essentially dropped him from the Vlog Squad, but without really addressing it much at first. It was kind of like a silent goodbye. And then we had the Jeff Wittek situation, where he obviously hit Jeff against an excavator really hard by swinging him really hard. That led to obviously Jeff having countless surgeries at this point to try and get his vision back fully, which I don't think he'll ever be able to do. That has really impacted his barbershop because he can't really cut hair properly these days. And now he just has the Jeff FM podcast that he has Tana on a lot, Tana Mojo. Tana Mojo has been friends with David for a while, and she's still kind of like on and off friends with David and the whole Vlog Squad. She's kind of just like friends with everyone. That's what Tana kind of looks like to me. She just looks like she just kind of gets along with everyone, except for James. James, she just doesn't get along with. But she never has this thing of like, if I don't like someone, my friends can't like them. She's one of those people that just doesn't actually care, which isn't neither a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying as like a point that I'm making. She just doesn't seem to care. She really doesn't like James Charles, but all her friends like Amari and those people, they're all friends with James, and she just doesn't really care. She's kind of just like, I think she knows deep down this is all like fake. Like, everything is fake, LA is fake. Like, she's just very like, I don't care. Like, you can't hurt my feelings. I don't care. Which I kind of respect in the grand scheme of things. She doesn't let things get to her. So her and Jeff are very close friends though. I think that's not fake. I think that is a real friendship that they've got going on. So Tana recently spoke about how a few of the Vlog Squad members, whenever they see her out and about, they will come up to her and say, how much they miss Jeff and how much they want to be friends with him. But they know that they can't reach out to Jeff because if David finds out, they will be immediately booted from the Vlog Squad and booted from the friendship group.
I had 38 conversations at that event about you, about our podcast, about how much I love you. Do you know I spent probably 20 minutes with each person, like in his group, like explaining to them the relationship I have with you and how much I love you. And it's crazy too, because I like had crazy conversations with a lot of his group where they're like, I miss Jeff so much, and I love Jeff so much. Oh my God, I might be airing too much out, but I'm not going to hit him up.
No, it's fine. I talk about that. I just said on here that
I can't hit him up, and I'd be like, why the can't you hit him up? If you miss Jeff, hit him up. You're a grown person.
Bad PR.
I'm Team Tanner.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
I just don't move like that. Like,
no, I'm saying not for me, for them or me. It's for him. It's bad PR.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I don't respect anyone who can't love the people they love, like, without being ashamed. Like, I think that's so out of pocket. Like, I don't care what I do or who's given me clout or who's done whatever for me. If I love someone, I love them. I'm going to like love it, and that's how I love you. So it just made me have like, I guess, less respect for some people, which maybe I shouldn't say on the podcast.
Which speaks volumes on how much of a dictator David is in that friendship group. Like, everything that happens is David. So whenever like people You know, whenever people are like, oh my God, but this wasn't David, this was one of his friends. I think David controls everything his friends do. So I think when something happens that like one of his friends do something, that is something that was ran past David first and he had like approved it. Because there's no way that he's just letting his friends do stuff without approval. In my eyes, I think he is heavily dictating what his friends do. So anyway, that's that. She tells Jeff that on the podcast, and she obviously, that goes out in public, and those people hear that, and it doesn't sound great because they obviously don't want David to know, and David's gonna now know that like, they're like, you know, colluding. And this is all obviously coming around at the same time as Jeff is actively pursuing legal action against David. So because of obviously the accident and David refusing to pay for some of the medical stuff, even though he promised he would, and not showing up to surgeries, and then blaming Jeff for it to other people to make him look dumb or irresponsible, he's currently pursuing legal action for like $10 million for loss of wages, negligence, and a bunch of other stuff. So obviously David doesn't want anyone to be friends with Jeff because it doesn't make him look good. Then they do another episode with Tana where she essentially comes on and says, and I actually saw this on TikTok first, and it was so fascinating. She says that she was attacked verbally by one of the Vlog Squad members at a party that she went to after she had said, you know, oh, there's Vlog Squad members that want to hang out with you, but they can't. Is that she was berated by one of these Vlog Squad members, and she comes back to Jeff and she says, you know, I was so bamboozled because I never get so like hurt by something that happens to me.
I walk into this event and I got pressed by a grown man.
Yeah.
For things I said on I'm pissed. The things that I said on your last podcast about certain people's actions, I was accosted for last night. Is that the right word?
What's that word mean?
Coming at my neck like, there's two sides to every story. You don't know what it is.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
what's
blah.
the other side?
I literally said the other side. Suck a and die. Like, what the actual made me so mad. And the thing is the I said on your podcast, A, is true, and B, was a very vague statement. It could have been about a girl. It could have been about anyone. Like, this person took it upon themselves to feel attacked. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, on the podcast you said people miss me from the old crew.
Yeah, I said that certain people will say that they miss you and then not act like it, and I've never understood adults who can't, you know, move with adult behavior. If you miss someone, you care about them. Was that
person one of the people?
Yes.
Oh, so they did say that? And
they did say that, 100%.
They got mad that you aired it out?
Yeah, but I never said their name. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no one knew it was them. They just felt like...
Now, that's odd that you can't say that you miss a person. Something fishy's going on.
Oh, 100%. And it was like, I'm sorry I had his back.
And this is what I mean by, I think Tana Mongeau doesn't care about a lot of things because she realizes how fake all of it is. But I think this, like, really hit her hard. Like, she was like, whoa, I just didn't expect this to happen. So that's pretty interesting. And that happened. I just didn't make a full video on it because I'm already wrapped up in like 5 minutes. Like, that wouldn't have been a video. But that really paints the image of what kind of a friendship group this is. This isn't a bunch of people being friends because they like each other. This is a bunch of friends being friends out of necessity to make content and make money, all led by a dictator called David Dobrik. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think. That's my opinion though. I don't think it's a true friendship though, because true friendship is a bunch of equals, equally hanging out and having the equal power to stop hanging out without the risk of losing their job, right? Like if there is a risk of losing something when you lose a friend, like losing something else while losing a friend, that friendship isn't real. That's actually a power dynamic. And it's what we talk about a lot in romantic relationships, like with the Try Guy situation, Ned dating one of his producers, and obviously she's below him. That's a power dynamic because when that relationship ends, so does her job. In this situation, like we can also make the assumption that there is a power dynamic of these people can't stop being friends with David because if they do, they lose their income. And they probably get blacklisted from the industry, which is YouTube, right? Like, look how many people have turned against Jeff, how many friends he has lost just purely because he's not friends with David anymore. Like, he hasn't really wronged anyone else. No one else has wronged him. It's purely, I'm not talking to David anymore. And these people have just been essentially like forced to stop talking to me without actually being forced to. Like, I don't think David's going around being like, you can't be friends with Jeff. But everyone knows what the implication is. Everyone knows that they have to stop being friends with Jeff. It's just kind of like an unspoken rule, in my opinion. I think it's interesting that we don't talk about power dynamics in friendships as much as we do in romantic relationships, because I think both can be severely damaging. Anyway, that's a little tangent I went on. Recently, Jason did another one of his roasts that he does for each of the members of the Vlog Squad. And this roast was on... Why do I forget everyone's names? This was a Zane roast. I'm so uninterested in these people these days that these names mean nothing to me. I blank, stare, blank. Like, I'm literally going blank. He puts on this roast, and to be fair, a while before this, we could see that the Vlog Squad is kind of falling apart. There isn't that, like, loyalty to the Vlog Squad anymore. They used to literally protect and defend each other to no end. Like, there was nothing that was going to break this group apart, because they knew that if they stuck together and they never spoke out against each other, they could have just stayed strong that way. But I think since David stopped posting vlogs and only does TikTok content, it feels like he's really out for himself only. He even stopped the podcast with Jason. It feels like he's not providing for his friendship group anymore. So the friendship group has less and less loyalty for him, right? There's still some of that loyalty left, but really it's starting to dwindle. So a while before this roast, Erin and Carly, who obviously have a separate channel, they talked about their like friend associations that they have. And we can assume that's the Vlog Squad. They're mainly associated with the Vlog Squad. So when they talk about associations they have in the industry, that's usually the Vlog Squad. Essentially what came out of that is that they talk to a few people, but not kind of the main group anymore. We don't really see them with David or Natalie anymore. We don't see them with the main core kind of Vlog Squad people. We see them with just kind of like some individuals. And in that same video, they say that there's been a lot of heartbreak with losing friends. They don't mention which friends, but they say that there's been a lot of tears shed and a lot of heartbreak because they didn't want to end friendships that ultimately had to come to an end for one reason or another. So Erin postpones her wedding right before the pandemic, because obviously the pandemic is happening and people can't attend her wedding, and she wants a full wedding. I know some people did kind of just like an elope situation during the pandemic, but she wanted a full-on wedding, so she just waited until the pandemic was done. But when the pandemic is done, it doesn't mean like everything is done. So essentially the requirements for attending her wedding were either you are vaccinated and then you have a positive test, or you can just not be vaccinated and just bring a positive test. That's it. I think that's pretty generous. Like, I think some people are saying like, no vaccinations, do not attend my wedding. But she was saying like, vaccinate yourself, please. But like, if you're not vaccinated, either way, like, positive test, just for everyone. Positive, oh my God. I've just been saying that like people with COVID. Negative test. Negative test or vaccination. She didn't want COVID people in her wedding. She was like, negative test or vaccination or both. But like, bring me a negative test. So the people that were not in attendance were Keith and Maria, who are a couple, and then Zane. And Maria was actually supposed to be one of her bridesmaids, which adds an extra element of like, wow, what happened that these people are just not attending her wedding? So we're gonna find out now. Jason posted his Zane roast, like I said, and it looks like they genuinely can't stand each other. Like, I've not seen a group of friends be so pissed off by each other's existence. That's just my opinion on the matter. Keith and Maria were hit the hardest, even with allegations of racism, constant allegations of racism against Keith.
Heath Hussar is here tonight. Buddy, I love you. It is so nice of you to be here and take a break from patrolling the border. And thank God Heath finally got in shape. Congrats, Heath. Really, truly. Unfortunately, though, it's going to be a lot of work for Mariah, who has to knit a much smaller clan outfit. Our first roaster is so old he remembers segregation, which is something Heath asks about him every day.
The cast of Unfiltered is here. You know, it's funny that the show's called Unfiltered when they have to filter out Heath's racism every episode.
Heath and Mariah are here tonight. Heath is so... Sorry about this. Heath is so racist, he and Mariah take a break from their relationship every summer because she gets a little too tan.
This friend group is really hard to break into. I had to sign an NDA, show Heath my immigration papers. Zane, you're a lot like Donald Trump. You're delusional, you have bad hair, and your best friend's a racist.
It was to the point where like it's not a joke anymore. I mean, let's start with the fact that every joke has an element of truth, because why would you just make something up? It won't be funny. It wouldn't be funny if you made something up that isn't true, because it's not gonna be a roast. A roast has to be something personal about that person that will hurt them, like hurt their feelings in like a funny, jokey way, right? So first of all, for a roast, you wouldn't just invent something. Like, if one of them had blonde hair, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, your brown hair is so disgusting, because they don't have brown hair. So it won't hurt their feelings. You're obviously gonna say like, oh my God, your blonde hair makes you look tacky, because that's a true statement about them. They have blonde hair, and then you can kind of tag something along with that, right? I don't know why I'm trying to break this down so much, but every joke has an element of truth in it. How big the element is, that's to be decided. But everyone was making jokes about Keith being racist, and this kept on happening. like kept on going. Every person went on stage, they were making racist jokes. Not racist jokes, they were making jokes about him being racist. And then he goes up on stage and he almost laughs about it. He's like, yeah, like, and then they just move on. And I'm supposed to move on. I'm supposed to just be like, ignore that.
I do gotta address something. I don't get why everybody keeps calling me a racist. I hang out with Taylor and she's a quarter Asian.
So that was the first thing. And then they addressed the wedding, that COVID tests and vaccinations were required, and that Keith, Maria, and Zane essentially didn't want to be vaccinated or get a test done.
You know, Heath, it is so awesome that both of our fiancés are here. Oh, wait, this is awkward. You haven't proposed yet, you deadbeat. Hey, Mariah, don't worry though, okay? It doesn't mean that Heath doesn't love you. It's just that we all know how difficult it is for Heath to commit to actually going to a wedding. But Erin sends her regards, by the way.
Zane is really stubborn. He once ended a 10-year-long friendship by refusing to take a COVID test. Which is funny, because most of his relationships end because he refuses to take an STD test.
Like, I don't understand, but I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt against my better judgment and say, fine, you didn't want to be vaccinated. A test? You didn't want to do a test? It takes 5 minutes. You put a little up your nose and a little on your throat. It takes 5 minutes to get a negative test if you don't have COVID. Like, I'm not saying I understand not wanting to be vaccinated, because I genuinely don't understand, but this is paining me to say that. I'm in pain. I understand if they didn't want to be vaccinated. But the test, we draw the line at a test. I don't understand. Literally ruined a friendship over not wanting a cotton bud up the nose for 10 seconds. I do not understand what's happening. I don't know. Anyway, so they're not friends anymore, essentially. And then Natalie took a lot of hits too, which I actually thought was really interesting. Natalie's been the center of a lot of criticism over the years. A lot of people don't like Natalie. I always get a really weird vibe from her, like just a really bad vibe. I get like almost pick-me vibes, like she hates every other woman in existence. And that was then confirmed during this roast, where I have a few quotes for you guys. Someone said that she's annoying, unreliable, and hard to connect with.
Natalie, hey girl. Natalie's here tonight. She reminds me a lot of AOL dial-up. Annoying, unreliable, and impossible to find a connection with.
She does, this is what I mean, she always looks very standoffish, like she just hates everyone, but mainly other women. That's always what I get. The vibe is that like she's like a pick-me. And I know that's an assumption. I'm just saying, that's the vibe that I got from her. Someone said, can't make any female friends because her boyfriend slept with all of them.
A lot of people say she doesn't have a lot of close girlfriends, but that's mainly because Todd slept with them all.
Which makes sense that she would be so insecure about making friends in LA, because she is going to run into so many people that have seen her boyfriend's everything. And that she also sold a gift that she was given from someone on Poshmark for $10.
By the way, never give Natalie a gift. You'll find it on Poshmark for $10.
Which just goes to show that she just doesn't care. She's just like, okay, thanks for the gift, I guess. At least list it for $20, $50 maybe, $10. Just like, I don't even want it. Just take it for free. I'll pay you if you take it. Anyway, so this really made me think about how the Vlog Squad is just severely falling apart. There is like nothing left, no friendship. They literally can't stand each other. Anyway, that's it. Subscribe to the bell icon for engagement, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.